transition then to what we want to talk about heading into this week, right? So it was, spiders, the little thin foam, like the small shoulder pads, not a lot of contact. Now you're getting into more gear, more contact as we head into this next week. So I want to talk about some players that in the increased physicality, in the increased pads, everything else, we are going to see more of what they can do, right? And have better valuation because of maybe their position, their style of play, whatever. So you had a good one. So I want to start with you as we say, all right, pads on, contact up. Who do we want to see?
Mo Toure at linebacker. I think we can probably both agree on this one as someone who, coming back from the knee injuries, has been out there and has had that brace on. Looks like he's moving well. But when you talk about coming back from an injury or a couple injuries now for him like this, something that you always hear, especially talking to my guys, my clients who have come back from big injuries, is like when you get into that scrum, when you get into that mix of 7, 8 people coming together and there's people flying in at the end of the play that you don't see them coming in there, and you got to brace yourself. And it's just going into those packs with confidence, right? And as a linebacker, that's going to be pretty much every play that he's dealing with that, right? So just seeing how he looks in that aspect of things, and look, just seeing how he's moving, he looks great. But that is going to be a different ball game, and it just, I think, a big part of his process of coming back from this injury, right, and gaining that confidence, because there's no other way to simulate what he's about to see here, right? You can wear all the pads yourself, but like unless you're out there actually practicing, it's not the same thing. So Mo Toure for sure would be right at the top of my list in terms of who I want to see now when the pads come on.
And Dre says these names are doing a number on me. So that's like the ongoing battle of training camp, me versus all these names. So since you are the opposite, you are the pronunciation king. It's not Toure, it's Toure, right?
Toure, yes.
Yeah, you've seen him running around. One thing I'll say, again, like you said, you're going to see more when the pads come on with him and what he can do. But he's running full speed. And what we're doing now, he is not hold it up. He's not looking, running gingerly. He is probably playing faster than anybody as far as just running around.
Yeah, I'll say, not having played football at a high level, but having now on 3 ACL injuries, you can run full speed. It's slowing down, speeding back up, changing direction, which again, that sort of stuff will be really tested now. And he's a freak of nature, just seeing him. So there's no reason I think he can't, rehab and medicine are very, very good these days, as I'm going to have another procedure here on Wednesday myself. But no, man, I think all early returns are good on that, and they're counting on him. This is not someone that they brought in that said, hey, we're taking a flyer on him and we'll see how it works out. They are taking a flyer on him, but it's not, let's see how it works out. It's no, this guy's going to be we need this guy to be one of our top linebackers this year.
No doubt. A lot of comments in the chat about Markeith Williams, who's gained some weight and has some experience. I like our backup safeties right now. I think when you look at Markeith, 4th year experienced, and that's still not huge, but added weight. Dylan Day, someone that we think is a future starter type. You got guys back there that can help you, I think, and without having to move someone right now. Hopefully that you stay relatively injury-free at that position. But if you have your top 4 that we have right now, I feel okay about it with Jacoby Thomas and Poyser, and then these two.
Hurricane Danny says, talk about Josh Moore. My brother, if you rewind it to the beginning of the show, we spoke about him for about 10 minutes. So yeah, appreciate you hopping on with us here, but we can rewind and find that content.
Yeah, love talking about Josh Moore. Appreciate you, Hurricane Danny. So I'm going to stay on linebacker because one guy who's very similar to Mo Toure physically, but much younger, right? One guy's class of 2019. One guy is the class of 2025. So I want to talk about Kellen Wiley. And look, I don't think I'm saying anything I try to limit what I talk about to the media portion of practice. I talk about more on the Canes Connection Zoom call. So if you want to get access to that, I do it every week. Sign up for CanesConnection.com/CIS. That's official, Miami's official NIL collective. Use promo code CIS50, get 50% off your first month, and you get access to private Zooms where I discuss practice beyond the media portion of practice for donors, for insiders, for those of us who are trying to get that 6th championship and contributing. CanesConnection.com/CIS. Sign up today. Promo code CIS50. Anyways, plug aside. So I try to limit what I say to that part of practice in this forum because that's what they asked me to do. However, they put out clips like images, right? And Pete, you can pull this up actually, Pete, if you don't mind. I think it's on Kellen Wiley's Instagram or his Twitter or whatever. The Miami Hurricanes will put out pictures of practice, and sometimes those pictures will tell you what's going on. So talked about Luka Gilbert being really good at contested catches. Someone put out a picture of Luka Gilbert making one contested catch in the end zone. So I think that's fair game to talk about. They put the picture out. You may have seen a picture of Motore with a football under his arm, running this direction. We can all assume that he got the interception and took it back. Looked pretty good doing it, I can tell you. Another thing that I think we're free to talk about here is Kellen Wiley. Last time you saw a picture of him from yesterday's practice, you see him with a football tucked under his arm going that way. So these are guys that are making some plays in the passing game. And with Kellen Wiley, again, true freshman, 6 years younger than Motore, but built the same way, 6'4", 237, even bigger than Torrey and faster. And Torrey's big and fast. Obviously, the injuries haven't happened yet. Knock on wood, you hope they don't happen with Kellen Wiley. But this is a physical specimen. He looks like an Alabama linebacker, a Georgia linebacker, right? What you want at that position to look, what you want it to look like over the past 20 years. Forget the Miami guys who are Hall of Famers. Just about the last 20 years and guys who've been winning championships. They look more like a Kellen Wiley. He was going to go to Texas last year, which was the number 1 recruiting class in the country at 25. Just to give you an idea of what kind of player he was. Starting the season as a 2-star, worked his way up to a 4-star with teams like Texas coming after him. And the tools are all there. I think in spring, he was still getting his feet wet, had a really good summer. And now you're seeing in fall, maybe the game's slowing down. But you're not really going to know with linebackers until you see pads, right? And you see full contact, or at least closer to full contact. You're not going to take running backs to the ground necessarily, but seeing guys run and hit and read in full speed and all those kind of things. So I'm very, very excited to see Kellen Wiley because Torrey, I think, will get better over the course of the season as he gets more comfortable with his knee. I think Wiley will get better over the course of the season, assuming he's able to crack the lineup and play, certainly special teams, as he plays more. If you get a situation where you have Torrey and Wiley on the field at the same time, I mean, you've come a long way from like the Corey Flaggs, the Deshaun Troutmans, those kind of guys. You're just physically closer to where it's supposed to be. I know Coach Heatherman, I said this when we got hired, just talking to people around him. He wants guys with the length and the strength and the speed and all those kind of tools, and he can coach them up. He'll develop them as pass rushers. Motore was a really good pass rusher. I think that Wiley could be a good pass rusher. He'll develop those pass rushing tools, also develop the linebacker tools, the read and react stuff. So I'm very, very bullish on Kellen Wiley, more so every day. And again, there's a reason why that Canes football put a picture of him with the football under his arm. He could do it against the pass as well.
Yeah, I couldn't find that picture. I was looking
I'll
for
pull it up. I'll pull it up.
He didn't tweet it out, so I couldn't find it. I was looking at the Canes football Twitter. I didn't see it. Maybe it's on Instagram.
I'll find it.
I don't have much to add on Wiley. I did a whole video on him the other day, so I'm obviously very bullish on him as well.
All right, here we go. Hold on, I'll pull it up. Give me a second. I got it right here. Here we go. My guy, Florida boy Corey. He's always got these videos. There you see Kellen Wiley here. There you see the hand. Look at that hands catch. How about that? Pretty nice catch, huh? Very nice. And then going the other way.
That was the thing about him in his high school tape that we were watching the other day. Like you see him playing. It's not a lot of these high school linebackers aren't actually playing linebacker, right? Yes, he was being used as an edge rusher. Yes, they were blitzing him, but he was playing linebacker. This wasn't necessarily like a projection of, hey, this guy's playing a safety spot, we need to turn him into a linebacker. So I think that goes a long way in him being able to play early. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the tape of him back at Armwood, remember he hit it. This was not a big recruit at all to start the year. And then first game, they went against Norland, I believe. They're in Trash Powell, and he was the best player on the field. So that's when that recruiting started to pick up, ultimately with teams like Texas all over him. But if you watch his high school film as a senior, he's not just like rushing the passer. He's not just running sideline to sideline. He's getting picks and taking it to the house. So, that's impressive. Hold on, 6 shots saying you guys
hold on. I got something for. Pull it up. I got something for our boy. He wants to talk special teams. He didn't see our entire conversation with the special teams coach the other day.
Here, let's talk about it.
Here you go. Here you go. You can talk to the special teams coach about it.
Now let's talk about it on special teams before and we're going to get to your next pick. But special teams, you got a battle of kicker between Bert Auburn from Texas and Carter Davis from FAU. Carter Davis was brought in to be the kickoff specialist, but he is starting to kick really well. He didn't kick at FAU other than the great kickoffs, but he's starting to get more field goals and look good doing it, but you haven't seen it in games yet. Bert Auburn, one of the better kickers in the country the last couple of years, but then this past year, 2024, had a really bad year. Texas fans got on him, so he needs kind of a refresh. So that's the battle there, and it's going back and forth. It's early, it's 2 days. I just need to go back and forth on that. So, I don't want to give too much of the play-by-play on that. I don't think that's more.
I'd be surprised if Auburn doesn't win that job. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I think so, but I don't think it's done. And I can't talk about the blow by blow. Like, hey, this guy made these kicks. This guy missed this kick. This guy made this great. I mean, I can't do that. But that's still a battle. Punter Dylan Joyce, he's a starter from Australia. He was a starter last year. I don't think we punted very often last year, but he was a very good punter. He was a freshman All-America 2 years ago, I believe. And then returns, what you're looking at returns is, I believe, on kickoff. Obviously, Keelan Marion's an All-America kickoff returner, so I think you can pencil him in that spot. They'll probably have a bigger up back there, like maybe like a Marty, not an up back spot. They'd have a guy next to him that's going to mostly block, which will be like Jordan Lyle last year, probably a Marty Brown this year, if I had to guess. Pringle can also return kickoffs. Bryce Fitzgerald can also return kickoffs. So Keelan Marion's going to start because he is the best in the country. Punts, I think that's going to be a tighter battle. Keontae Scott was the best punt returner in the SEC 2 years ago for Auburn. Had a bad year punt returning last year in 24. Really, everything else kind of struggled as well, but he's hoping to get his confidence back, and if you can stay in form he had in 23, you're talking about one of the better punt returners in the country. Also, Malachi Toney, right, who's going to be a key player on this team, period. Just extremely smart, extremely hardworking. He's a true freshman, so to say he's reliable is a stretch because he hasn't been relied upon in games yet. He hasn't had to catch punts or catch passes in a packed stadium. But I kind of think he's reliable already. We'll find out. But those two I always look at there. And then also, again, Bryce Fitzgerald was one of the best punt returners in the country last year, one of the best kickoff returners in the country last year in high school. He's 6 foot. He's 187 pounds. He is physically ready to rock and roll. He was the only guy that wasn't here in spring. So we're getting our first look at Bryce Fitzgerald. We talked about him on other shows. Impressive range, impressive player. We have to see the tackling, but certainly returning with his size and the athletic ability he has and the fact that he's done it in the past, I think he's going to be really good. But here's the truth about the kicker, right? We had the best kicker in Miami history the past 4 years. I don't care about, listen, Huerta, awesome, accurate kicker, big game kicker, Miami legend, right? He was always considered the best kicker when I was growing up. Michael Badgley, longtime pro, big leg, made some really long kicks. The Borgal's brother, who we were also spoiled by because he was right before Andres. He was awesome too. I mean, he's All-America. The best kicker we've ever had is Andre Borregales. He's the highest drafted. He has the best leg. He has the most accuracy. He's the most consistent. Best ever at Miami. by the way, best in the country last year. So to say, and he might, I think he'll be one of the best in the NFL. So I think it's like Cam Ward, but even more so, where I think to expect that to be replaced would be being a homer. I think there's going to be a drop off at kicker. Even if Burt Auburn returns to the form we saw 2 years ago, he didn't have the leg of Borregales to like hit 50-yarders, and you don't even think about it. So if we're being punter's going to be fine. Returner, I think, is going to be better. Coverage units will be, I think, will be better. That's a projection because you don't see that as much in camp. You got to see it in full speed in games. Kicker will probably be worse. Well, let's forget probably. I'd be shocked if kicker wasn't worse because we had the best kicker we've ever seen, and those guys were not easy to find.
Yep, agreed with that. I think return game should be pretty darn good, though.
I think the return game, I'm not going to say it's going to go back to what it was like when we were returning, with Hester and guys like that. But I think there's a chance with this return game that it's the best we've had since that time. We had Duke for a while. He was a really good kickoff returner. I'm trying to think of like some of the better returners that we had. Barrios was like a really good returner.
Rashard Smith.
Field position. Yeah, kickoff, he was real good. But just like the overall package, we're looking at potential touchdowns. I think we have some touchdown scores at returner. Keelan Marion, obviously first-team All-America, so that's kind of pretty predictable. And then punt returner, we'll see how that goes. I think there's a lot of guys that have a chance to really help us there.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
So, Pete, who's the other guy you're looking forward to seeing in pads?
Let me think here. Armando Blunt, how about that?
Yep.
Because we've heard so much about the offseason he's had, and I think at times last year we saw flashes, but it was just the fact that he was so young and needed to really add some armor to the body of his, so to speak, because he needs to take that and he needs to take a next step. And I know he's a young guy, but you want to see some of those flashes you saw, really, quite frankly, from Bain year one, because we haven't seen that on the field just yet from Blunt.
And I think
at that position, this is where I think you'll start to hear more about the trenches now when the pads come on. It's very I don't think the coaches can only take so much away from the trench stuff when it's not full contact necessarily. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but that's normally what I get from that stuff.
I agree. Beautiful birds flying in the background there, Pete. What a setting. But yeah, I agree. And Blunt's the same age as Bain. I think this year that Bain was as a freshman because he was 17 last year. And of course he dealt with injury, so he's even further back. But with Blunt, he's very athletic. I mean, he's verified testing was off the charts. That's why he was a 5-star, even though he reclassified and stayed a 5-star. I think it's because his testing was so good. He ran like a 4.8 laser, which is really fast at how big he was. He was the state champion in shot put as a freshman. So he's got all those explosive scores pretty high, but he's not the kind of guy that's like, you put him out there and he's like avoiding blocks. Like he's just like juking out the tackles and doing all these kind of things that you just to catch your eye and without contact. Blunt, he's a contact player. He wants to explode through you. He wants to throw you. He wants to get off the block and run and chase things down and hurt people. He is very much physically oriented as a player. And I think, like you said, the pads are going to give you a better chance to see what he can do. So
I made a note, the other day that the D-line was doing something where they were throwing a medicine ball, like explosively. And he was throwing it the farthest out of all of them, it seemed like, from where I was.
He was a state champion. Jackson Campbell's kind of his own category. Armando Blunt was a state champion thrower as a freshman in high school, 14 years old. So I think the explosiveness of him is pretty unique as a player. So I'm a huge Armando Blunt guy. Him and Hayden Lowe to me are, if I'm buying stock, size, physicality, effort, intelligence, explosiveness. I mean, that's what I kind of want to invest my stock in. That's Hayden Lowe. That's Armando Blunt. They're 5-stars. I'm not exactly reinventing the wheel here. My last pick of this exercise, I'm going to say Jacoby Thomas, the safety from Tennessee. really big. You look at him, he looks like a guy that's been playing for a long time. Played a lot of football. He was at Middle Tennessee State. Then he transferred to Tennessee. Played a lot last year. Was going to start this year, but ended up transferring to Miami, starting here. I talked to him. He said the reason he transferred was Mario Cristobal. That was the biggest reason why he decided to transfer, which was interesting. And he was very emphatic about it too. But like, he wasn't just saying it to say it. But with him, the comparison is always like an Amari Carter. I think he's more athletic than Amari Carter, and I think Amari Carter was better than people remember because everybody talks about the targeting. This was a guy who played on some really good defenses. We talked about that in the last couple episodes. With Thomas, you don't know exactly what he can do until he's hitting and tackling. Now, I don't want him to be knocking out our players, right? I don't want to be targeting JoJo Trader. I would hope he does not do that. But, just seeing his presence, and we have not had players on defense that you feel, right? That you feel their presence. And I think he's one of those guys that teams are going to feel that he's out there. Even if he's not Sean Taylor doing everything, just having that tone setter, I think is going to electrify the rest of the defense and make Miami a team that people don't necessarily want to play.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we've obviously talked that his strength isn't necessarily in coverage. Not that he can't cover, but I don't see that being his role at Miami. So you're not gonna know it until the pads come on, for sure. I'm excited to see him. I'm still buzzing about what I've seen out of Dylan Day at that spot too. Not to get too far off the path there, but I saw a couple really impressive reps in coverage from him on Elijah Lofton, which is not an easy matchup for a defensive back. I would say even though Lofton caught one of them, I would say Day maybe won both of those reps.
Yeah, he was on him. I mean, great catches by Lofton.
One catch, the other one was an incompletion. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So those guys, we're looking forward to seeing in pads, and we'll be covering it all. Like and subscribe to the show, man. Every practice, Pete's out there. I'm out there. We're doing 2 shows a day, plus all these a million other clips. We're on CanesInSight.com, 7.5 million posts and counting. Sign up for free there. The Canes stuff is flying. Pete, real quick, I want to talk about a really cool product that I had the privilege of getting a free copy of. That is the 100 Years, 100 Games by my guy Carter. Check this out, Carter Tool. I got the copy right here. This was an awesome gift to practice yesterday. Reading through it, I love the old quotes, like the contemporaneous, like the quotes, not looking back, but like quotes that people said at the time of these games. Really, I didn't live a lot of this stuff. I'm from that. I was born in 85, so kind of right in the beginning of that decade of dominance. So I see the 80s stuff, especially more in retrospect. And it's cool to just relive some of that stuff through this book, see the pictures, see the quotes, and really feel like you were there. Awesome book. It looks great. You put it right there on the coffee table, put it right there in the office, wherever you want to put it. It's really, really cool, high quality stuff. You get that at MiamiHTS.com. Also, the Miami Hurricane Team Store right across the street from campus. If you're in person or online, promo code INSIGHT20, get you 20% off your first item. So you got it right there, man. And by the way, shout out to Officer Kodo. Saw him at the Marlins game, fan of the show. He's spreading the word about CanesInSight. Everywhere we go, man, we get a lot of love. People just really support the Canes, support the show. We appreciate you, especially, I mean, cops, the firefighters, man, the truckers, man, the working people listening to this show, getting through their day. We appreciate you, and we appreciate, all your support.
Go Canes. Hit that like and subscribe to the channel. I still have a few more interviews, guys, dropping from media day, and I feel like some of the videos have been lost in the shuffle a little bit. So have a really good interview up with Terry Jefferson, one of Miami's secondary coaches, I think a rising star. Wouldn't surprise me to see him as one of Miami's primary position coaches in the next year or two. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, he's ready.
Guy that they brought. He's already coaching the nickels. I mean, he's the nickel corners coach. And he was out there. They had him out there at media day, which signifies, someone who's obviously a valued member of staff. He's I think he might be an analyst on paper, but he's essentially coaching the nickel corners. And really with him, the interesting thing was the story about Zechariah Poyser, because he was with him straight out of high school at Jacksonville State, and the story of kind of how he's gotten here now. So check out that interview. Also, the special teams coach, Danny Coulter, had a really good conversation with him. have a lot more coming, man. So just stay tuned for that. I'll be dropping more interviews here over the weekend. And Keontae Scott, that was another really, really good interview. Enjoyed that conversation with him.
Yep. So,
all right, everyone. Appreciate you guys for joining the show today. Like, subscribe. Go Canes.
Go Canes.